How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the James Loud Podcast. And today our special guest is Matt from Terra International. How you doing?
Thank you very much, James, for having me on here. I'm great.
So you're a terrorist.
I am a little terrorist. You know, we are here moving a lot of products and helping out this industry and trying to bring a community back to where it needs to be.
Glad to have you on the show. We've been talking about this for a little while. We met not so long ago, but I knew about your product for the last year and a half. Good flower that I've seen coming from your nutrient line.
Yeah, I thought you were running it about for 2 years now. I was just under the impression, I was like, oh man, so just the last 6 weeks.
It's the SF, well, you've been running it. I've known about it for a long time. SF Canna, my good buddies over there, they've been running it.
Yes.
And crushing with it. So yeah, I was excited to test it out and see how it does. And so thank you very much. We're running it right now in our veg.
No, thank you. People like you in this industry is what we need, James. You know, research, development, and get better.
Yeah.
You know, this whole industry, that's what we have to do is get better as the industry.
Yeah, I think a lot of research and development goes on here. And I think a lot of people really need to do side-by-side testing. I think that's so huge to determine what's good and what's not good. And there's a lot of stuff that maybe works for a certain person and another individual, something else works for them. And so, even cloning techniques, stuff like that. And because it's a plant and it's so dynamic, not every recipe works for every situation. Light recipes, you name it, there's so many variables involved. And that's what I love is being on the cusp of trying new things and cutting edge nutrients, cutting edge techniques, cutting edge ideas. I love that stuff being on the edge of what's new and what's upcoming. And some of it's amazing, some of it's terrible, some of it's everything in between. You know, it's an interesting time to be alive.
But you learn something through all of it. That's all that matters. You know, like great thing that you brought that up. I'm actually joining a group of about 5 or 6 guys that are coming together, which all different walks of life, but in this industry, we have 2 growers involved in it, a genetics guy involved in it, a hydro store involved in it, myself. And we're just trying to come together as a unit and build a research and development facility.
Yeah.
Exactly kind of like what you're saying. We're going to have some that are double stacks. We're going to have some that are single stacks. We're going to have double stack mother room, double stack baby room, just to see all the different angles of this industry and how far we can actually push this envelope. Because realistically, we've only been pushing the envelope about 5-6 years, where we can actually come out of the shadows and show our talents, So I look at this industry, we're only 5-6 years old. So our goal is to hit 10 pounds in a couple of years per light.
10 pounds per 4x4. You heard it here first.
Hey, we have to do it, because cost per pound, once corporate comes into this industry full-fledged in, our SOPs need to be about $200 a pound.
Per 4x4 vertically, you can get that. That's realistic, I guess. Or per 4x4 stacked 3 high.
No,
you're talking about single.
4x4.
So, what's your thought on the 2-tier, the double stack? What's your opinion on that? Because me personally, I think that some of my friends do really well with it. I prefer high ceilings with tall plants.
It all depends on your building. Yeah. Environment is the most crucial thing for your garden. There's some places where it allows a double stack. We're actually in talks with another building on top of what we're already planning on moving into in the near future is a triple stack.
Yep.
And that one has 210 lights per room.
Wow.
There's a 12 rooms in this facility as well. So those are the things that we're looking forward to, is to continue to evolve and continue to get better. That's honestly what the group, the connected guys and Grow World and that whole little group.
I love that group.
I went there a year and a half ago to the Connect event, and I just seen all they're doing is pushing education into this industry. Grow
World Ag is great. I mean, I'm glad to be a part of it. I think they're really great people. They've connected me with really great people.
Yes.
And it's a nice community. Same thing with Sergio, what he's done with the Connect events.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it was his calling, and he's really owned it and taken it on. And now he's doing them all over the world at events. And I love seeing my friends win. And it's great. We've had him on the show, and him and I have became friends over the last year. And he's just a great guy. And, it's like he's on this upward trajectory, and I love it.
Is good people want to surround themselves, and good things actually come out of it when that happens, and first thing for me as well, I seen Sergio and I was like, oh my goodness, who is this guy? And just continuing to listen to what he's doing. And I just told him, hey, how can I help you? Right. I see your business, I see your philosophy, but there's other angles that might be able to come in and help, and turn on a couple light switches for him. Yeah. And he's going to be probably a part of the whole R&D facility, nice. Because he brought this up and he said, hey, are you guys interested? And I had talked to one of the growers that's going to be a part of it 2 years ago. I said, listen, I need an R&D facility because I'm coming out with our nutrient line and I want to know everything about it. Like we're still 2 years R&Ding our nutrient line because nothing's going to be set in stone until the growers say, that's what we need, and we'll still continue to make lines. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a line that we have that comes out, which is a standard line, but our expert line, we're going to continue to evolve and innovate with the growers.
Right.
I'm not a grower anymore. I had to let those days go, but for me, I'm about sourcing the right people, the right products, and putting it together as a unit. Custom Ag Formulators in Fresno, that's who blends it for us.
Nice.
And I have zero problem letting everybody know that, because you build a relationship with people. And if you have a relationship with people, they don't want to burn you, and that's kind of in dealing with
the good ones don't, at least.
Hey, the good ones don't. But guess what?
Yeah.
You learn something, even if someone does burn you, as long as it doesn't take everything from you, know? And so that's kind of the philosophy. That's what I learned from Sergio is trust people. I don't like to trust people, especially in this industry. Most people don't pay their bills. It's difficult at this time.
It's tough, dude. It's trusty. I mean, I have trust issues with this industry as well, especially with genetics and seeds. And it's like giving people terms on stuff that gets me very nervous. And I've done it with some people and gotten completely screwed. There's people out there that have screwed me.
Yeah.
But you do there is a certain level of trust with certain people where, especially after repeated business, we are in an interesting industry and it's ever changing. It's very volatile. There's not a lot of stability. So no. I still have trust issues.
It is. And everyone's getting divided right now.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
So some of us are getting divided and some of us are getting together. And I feel like I've been in this industry a long time, and I'm always want to join forces with other people and try to do it bigger and better. And, there's a lot of talent left still. There's a lot of talent gone. Mm-hmm. The industry has changed, but there is a lot of talent out there.
There is.
And so, within our circles, and I know some of the people in your circles and some of the people in my circle, we have a lot of talent. And it's not just genetics or not just cultivation, it's everything.
Correct. And how big can you be by yourself?
Right.
And so that's what I'm preaching now. I only sell to hydroponic stores, right? Mm-hmm. I have the ability, I have everyone's addresses to sell direct, but I believe in people that have helped me get to where I am, so why am I going to go around their backs? Right. Back in the day, hey, if we used to go to your hook guy, guess what happens? You don't get those phone calls anymore, and so as growers believe that they're selling more than the hydroponic stores, or they buy more than a hydroponic store does.
Yeah,
that's correct in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
But now if you bring a group of a couple hundred hydro stores together, you bring a group of a couple hundred growers together, now you actually have leverage, and that's numbers is power, and that's where you'll end up being able to leverage things. So a lot of growers are out there and they don't buy at hydro stores anymore. We understand that. And the education at the hydro store needs to get better, and that's going to be.
It needs to get better at the dispensary too.
It does.
Yeah, but these things, they can be improved.
They can be, and so that was one of my things that I was speaking with a couple guys in the group is, hey, when we go into the hydro stores, let's make reels. Let's make every product that we're displaying a 2-minute reel, and let the manufacturers express what they want to express about their product to get it into the store, to where you don't have to rely on the store, but like I'm going to end up building a group of stores together and bring them as a unit and say, hey, log into the Connect events, listen, educate yourself, get better, because that's where we got to go.
So host a Connect event at your location. I feel like the Sergio's going all over with Connect events too. I do love the SAC location though. Those are great. I
love SAC.
And I've seen
except the traffic.
Except for the traffic.
That's horrible, man.
Yeah. There's some good food out in SAC too, surprisingly.
Yeah,
but yeah, I got my buddies out there, and I love going to dinner with them too. But the Connect, he has food there too. So if you haven't gone to the Connect event, it's great. There's mingling with people that are intelligent, that know the plant, that are passionate on all levels. And I feel like it's that part about it is great, because I feel like there's this mix of vendors and people, and it's very casual and it's great.
Yeah. Honestly, when I went to the event for the second or third time, the first couple were still growing, but the one that I met you at, the Faven one, there was 300-400 people there, and it's like everyone wanting to come see. I understand Underlight was a huge topic at the time, and everybody wants to come see that, but
still is.
It still is, and Faven's killing it out there.
They're killing it. And I mean, it's just everyone wants to know more about it. And I mean, the proof is in the pudding with the Faven. That's what I like about it, is like there's I have friends, and I can see firsthand the results that they're getting, and I love it.
Yeah.
That's what I like, because everyone says they have something good. There's so many people out there that are like, oh, I got this. This is the best of this or the best of that. At the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. Show me the money. Show me the product. Then we can talk about it. You have the best flower. Let's see it. It's like I like good flower. But everybody thinks their flower is good too. So there's this ego when it's your product as well.
And these hydro stores have to push their egos aside, and like perfect example, like you brought up Faven, right? Faven was from a grower. It started in a facility.
Yeah.
But guess what? The facility didn't have it dialed in correctly. He ended up going to a hydro store, and the hydro store had a couple more ideas that put it together.
Yeah.
And that's the communication that we're talking about. Come to a hydro store and transfer education.
Yeah.
As growers, because most of the growers ended up learning how to grow where? Normally at a hydro store.
Yeah.
Maybe your buddies here and there, but the origin came from normally a hydro store.
Pre-internet, it was all from either your buddies or the hydro store. And a lot of times you had to talk about it as like tomatoes.
Yes.
Berkeley Indoor Garden, I used to go there, and it was always referenced to vegetables. You could make vegetable references, but the second, they wouldn't talk to you anymore if you want to talk about wheat.
Yeah.
So, and that's how serious they were.
It was.
And a lot of places were like that.
Yeah, I had a hydro store down in Gilroy, and I think it was 2010, and we didn't talk about marijuana. It was a very closed-lip situation,
Right.
So, but now it's growing. We're allowed to express ourselves. We're allowed to show each other. But now, in this time, what are we doing? We're closing up. Some people are closing up. I see a lot of these large growers, and they buy direct from every single manufacturer, which I understand. That philosophy is to cut your price down. We get it. But if you can look bigger and understand that you're never going to be bigger than corporate, and you should start to join a team to an extent, and that's what's going to keep us alive.
Instead of being a part of the race to the bottom. Right?
Yes.
Because a lot of this is that race, especially if you're a cultivator. And I'm not a cultivator. I do cultivate.
Okay.
But I'm not a cultivator. I'm a genetics guy.
Yes.
And so I have cultivation partners. I have cultivation friends that do amazing cultivation. But I'm blessed that I'm not doing cultivation, because it's really difficult, and it's like the prices keep going down. The inputs keep going up in cost.
Yes. And same at the hydro stores.
Yeah.
Every store is challenging each other. $2 cheaper, $1 cheaper. There has to be an end of that. And so what we're trying to do is come out with branded quality products that people know about, and kind of set a precedence of, hey, I would rather fight my brother than my dad, and that's kind of what's going on in our industry behind the scenes is, hey, Your hydro store is your brother, the neighbor. You know, it's okay to fight that guy some days, you know, but are you going to beat him up to where you can't see no more? No. But when your dad comes in, he hits you one time and you're done, you know? And
my dad's still like that. I won't fight my dad.
You won't fight your dad. Why? Because, you know, in the back of our mind, you know, the manufacturer, they control everything in the long run. Now, is it their duty and their job to also help the stores? It is, you know? And so that's where I'm coming at an angle. We have our United products and Royal Gold, Sunshine. We distribute for a lot of manufacturers, Quest. There's a lot of them out there. And so what we're trying to do is speak to them and let them know that the growers are hurting right now. Yeah. The hydro stores are hurting right now. The only ones that aren't hurting as much is the manufacturers. And so it's time to kind of...
Depending on the manufacturer, but yeah.
Correct. You know, the manufacturers that are still doing well right now.
Sure.
You know, there's margins that they're holding on to, you know. And so like for our nutrient line, I'm going to cut out all the margins. Yeah. To give it to the stores to actually make some money and still give it to the end user cheaper than what pretty much most of the salts out there on the market are, you know. Nice. So that's just, it's my give back. Right. My stores, every single store that supported me through this whole journey that I've been on since 2014, 15, you know, I can't leave them. Right. It's loyalty, you know? And so those are the things that I believe full-hearted in, is actually supporting the people that support you, you know?
Right. Well, let's talk about your nutrient line for a little bit.
Okay. So yeah, it's blended at Custom Ag Formulators. So I used to distribute for Athena. Ended that relationship about 3 months ago with them. Just our views were different. And so what I tell all my stores is, hey, it's time to get better. So what I did with Custom Ag was I said, hey, give me the highest input you guys possibly can for this 3-part baseline. And I'm going to sell it at the cheapest price possible and see where it goes, you know? And the guys at Custom Ag are extremely brilliant at what they do. That's their craft. They're manufacturers. And so I have 3 groups working with Custom Ag right now to do what? Research and develop other products. So we're not done. We're going to continue to take this to another level.
So you just have the 3-part right now?
We have a full line. Yeah. Yeah. So we have a full line. And so there's a PK powder in there as well. And we'll have a pH up and then a finisher as well. And then we're actually, for our hypochlorous acid, we're working with a couple companies. One I'm not going to divulge, but another one is Clean Grow. He has Water Max, and that's kind of where a lot of products were generated from in this industry, you know? So with his, and we can go make it ourselves, you know, but I don't believe in that. I believe in helping people that are in the circle, you know? And there's another hydrochloric acid, which isn't hydrochloric acid, that's going to come out and show a lot of people some things. So we're happy to have that in our product line as well.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of product on the market and there's not a ton of quality. I mean, I think it's gotten better through rec as far as in California, you know, because every state is so different.
Are you talking about flour?
I'm talking about flour.
Okay.
Specifically flour. I mean, we can talk about extract. Extract's the same thing.
Okay.
We can talk about the end product.
Okay.
Like, what would you say the biggest problem with the flour out there is? You think inputs? You think drying and curing?
Back in the day, drying and curing.
Yeah.
It was huge, you know. But I would say now it's grown to, instead of doing 20, 30 lights in a house, it's grown to 1,000, 500 lights. It's very hard to manage that size of rooms. But I would say actually probably lack of education for that size, you know, just having growers understand that when you scale up to those levels, there's going to be change, you know? And so the evolution of technology is helping us, you know, because back in the day, we used all hand water. You know, like I heard on the podcast a couple that you still hand water outside. So do I. You know, I just don't have marijuana plants in my backyard anymore, but I like to go outside and that's my peace and my calm. And so, but when people are in the garden, you know, they're used to hand watering. Now we're using drippers. So things have changed. And as things
We have
change,
sensors now.
now we have
It's like,
sensors.
you know, those things are game changers.
They are, you know, and that's what's going to make us better.
Yeah.
You know, but right now, is there a transition period? Yes.
Yeah.
Is there still some fire that 5-10 years ago we would have never seen? Yes, there is.
Mhm.
You know, I smoked some the other day. I don't smoke too much anymore, but I got a cut from, or one of our buddies got a cut from you, the Poison Gusher.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a great one. No, that's not a good one. That's a great one. And that's going to
Yeah,
bring gas back.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, so Flora Flame's growing that. SF Cannon's growing that.
Yes. I got it from the SF Canna guys.
Yeah. It's good. Like they just do a good job with everything.
They do. But
So,
I was floored. I was like, oh man, I need to Uber home,
Yeah.
you know?
And I did not create the Poison Gushers,
Okay.
but yeah, it's part of the TC library
Correct.
that my partner has access to. So really
Gotcha.
good stuff. But yeah, it's so you're in the minority and I'm in the minority. I like Poison Gushers. I feel like not everybody is turned on to Poison Gushers.
Why?
It's not candy enough.
Oh man.
Same thing with what is the new one? So they have the new strawberry banana. They have a new strawberry banana Skittles, and it's not candy enough for people. And it's like, come on, man! It tastes amazing, super complex. It's got a lot of funk to it.
Yeah.
And that's I like the Poison Gushers for the same reason.
For
It's
the
got
funk.
fuel and funk. It's special for that,
Yes.
and it's also one of those ones that still burns down to the roach and tastes amazing.
Yeah. And
So-
I opened the bag and I said, you don't smell that too often,
Yeah.
in this industry. Like I was at the Connected event with the candies and I looked at all 20 jars, because I had the VIP pass to go in the back and I looked at them all. Fantastic. All of them. Not
Yeah.
going to knock any of them, but some of them were missing a nose.
I was knocking some of them.
I'm just,
Absolutely, but and there's some stuff, and I feel like a lot of that, some of it's drying, some of it's too much heat in the room. I think that's another problem is like not getting your temps down, and then when you have a little too much heat, that's an issue.
there's a lot more light than
yeah.
what we used to have back in the day.
A lot more light.
A lot more.
Absolutely. The light's different. That we, I didn't even like LEDs at first, and I talk about it on the show a lot, but HPS, I'm still an HPS guy. I love HPS. We
Yeah.
got some HPS here. We love R&Ding stuff under HPS. I like doing my reversals under HPS. So there's nothing wrong with HPS.
There isn't.
Yeah.
And I think in our facility at our R&D place, we'll have HPS as well.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is basically open it up to manufacturers. If you want your product to be displayed, here's the room.
Well, and you got to use HPS because you love it because it costs more to run than LED.
It does.
But if you love terps and you love the way the HPS makes the plant express, then there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Flower is going to sell.
Yeah.
And if you have the terps and you have the smell, that's what I think is missing a lot in this industry right now is the smell.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. A lot of it's missing the smell and flavor. It's like when
Yes.
you smoke it, and we talk about how Instagram's to blame for this because you get these plants on Instagram and it's just based on look. But at the end of the day, it's like really like, what does it smell like? What does it taste like? How does it make you feel? All those things you can't get from a picture.
Yeah. And if you're not getting the smell from it, you're not going to get the taste from it.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand.
They do, but sometimes the smell is more like, I feel like Skittles, it smells good, but it smokes even better than it smells. And there's a handful of things out there like that, but
I started smoking again because of the Skittles. I hadn't
Yeah.
smoked in about 3-4 years.
from our mutual friend, you
Yes,
get that Skittles,
I
and it's
see-
like, it's a game changer.
I
dude.
seen that and I said, okay, I guess I got to break it,
It's so good. It's so good. The problem with it is when if I have 20 or 30 or 40 different flavors that I'm smoking on, I get to that and I end up smoking all of that before I go into anything else. And like, I might have a bunch of stuff that might get old because I smoked the Skittles first. I like trying all kinds of different stuff all the time and depending on the day, but that Skittles just, sometimes when it's a good batch, it's like, it just tastes amazing.
For me, when I see a good batch and I'm at the right place at the right time, then that's where I'm going to smoke, you know? And
for
normally it's
sure.
in San Francisco.
Yeah.
They know where I go. And that's, you know, it's a great place for me to go hang out in a cool environment. And I get to see some of the absolute top-notch weeds in this world.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what it's all about.
blessed.
There's so much good stuff besides Skittles, but Skittles has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's so many genetics, dude, that are good, and there's so many that are just average. You know, I feel like there's so many that need more work to be done. Purple Punch is one of those ones. It's one step away from being cool and being good, but by itself it's just kind of eh. But you can cross it to stuff and you get some interesting expressions and some really good stuff. Oreos is another one. Like, people don't like Oreos, but you cross it to stuff, you can get some good stuff. So it's like one or two steps away from being amazing.
See, and that's your lane.
Yeah.
That's where I let you go crazy. And that's what we need is people in our industry to kind of stay a little more in their lanes.
I agree.
We got builders selling products, but they have no facility. You know, genetic guys are going out there selling Rockwell and their genetics. And so that's kind of what we want, is to build up. You're the genetics man.
Right.
Let's build you up. Let's put you out.
Well, this is the beauty of the white market. This is the beauty of being able to do stuff legally, is now you can stay in your own lane and you can be successful at it. You can be extremely successful. And, you know, if you're at the top tier of your industry of whatever you do, whether it's genetics or nutrients or you name it, Rockwool, you know, whatever it is, if you're at the top, you're going to be successful. And you can really hyper focus on improving genetics or improving. But the guys that try to do everything, man, they end up losing something.
Yeah. Like right now, we're working on a 70-30. I shouldn't be saying this, but we're working on a 70-30 compression. And everyone's like, how can you compress perlite? You can't.
Yeah.
You know, so guess what? You got to go outside the box, guys. You know, just like what I did with Sunshine way back in the day.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go outside the box. You guys gave us a bag of Sunshine that weighed 120 pounds, the black one.
Yeah.
It used to weigh 60. Now it weighs 120. Nobody can carry this upstairs anymore. You know, so I told them, let's change the narrative. You know, let's make it a white bag. Give it to me at 60 pounds and see what we do with it.
Right.
And we ended up, you know, selling more white Sunshine than you can imagine. You know, it's just changing the narrative. Understand your lane, stay in that lane and focus and do the absolute best you can do, you know?
So what do you prefer? Rockwool? What's your favorite substrate? Cocoa, soil, or it's just, I'm one of those guys that likes all of them. I like everything for different uses.
I believe different uses cause for different things. If you're going outdoors, you should be in some peat moss, you know, because you need to hold that water and retain the water. If you're inside, it's whatever you feel more comfortable with. Me personally, the reason why I want to build a team is to educate people. I personally think Rockwell is going to be gone in 2 years. I know it's a crazy subject for people to say.
I don't even know if people can wrap their heads around it.
But I really think it might go away. And you have to kind of look at the...
Not in 2 years.
Okay, give it 4.
Okay.
When federal legalization comes, I believe it's going to be around 4 years from now.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of changes.
You think they're going to change that? So no more Rockwool because
it's environmentally unfriendly.
Right.
You know, just like with our LED lights, if you don't know your efficiency on your LED light, in a couple of years, you're probably going to have to switch them.
Well, and that's why HPS will probably be going away, unfortunately, but it's because it is not efficient.
It's not
not as efficient, and it
Correct.
creates more heat. And so, yeah, it creates more electricity. And, you know, I mean, I get that part. Rockwool, we'll see. It's used in ag so much, so heavily used everywhere.
It is. I went to a Disney World.
Yeah.
And you go through a little boat ride and there was Rockwell in there and I was caught off guard. I'm like, you know, but there's going to be a time and a place where we have to elevate and get better. So for me, I would say Rockwell is going to get switched into cocoa.
Interesting.
In due time.
Yeah. I mean, I like Rockwell for certain uses. I like Rockwell for my mom's and I like Rockwell for clones. I'm always open to change, but yeah, I mean, we're working with Grodan right now too. So interesting outlook on the industry because stuff can disappear just like that.
And what are you going to do? If you're buying all your stuff, just say you're buying everything from Grodan and Grodan goes away. You're lost as a cultivator. You're going to have to go back to the drawing board.
You mean there's going to be a learning curve when you switch?
Correct. or just in general, not to be able to go to a hydro store or bounce ideas off people.
Yeah.
Hey, what's everyone going to? Just like in Oakland, we were all told we were allowed to use generators, diesel generators. You can't use those anymore.
None of that.
You see what I'm saying? And so the more you're around people that are in this industry and you're communicating, you're going to educate yourself to go to another level.
It's being on the cutting edge.
It is. And it's about around right people that actually care about furthering the industry, and that's what, when I went around the Connect community, that's what I seen. I seen the next evolution,
right?
Where it's gonna go, because that, for me as an owner of our company, I can't think about today, even though the day-to-day task, I'm there every day.
Yeah, my
job's 2 years down the road, and if you can't see 2 years down the road, then you should just probably not own a business, because things change. And if you don't know how to pivot at the right times, then you'll end up falling backwards. The last 2 years for us has been the most successful. And not too many people can say that in this industry. So it's being around the right people that have the right direction,
Yeah, I mean, we plan for the future and prepare
for the worst.
Yes. But, we still are, it's one of those things. You got to be creative and ready to pivot at any moment. But we pivot inside our realm, just like you do, I'm sure. Some people want to pivot from this thing to this thing to this thing. They're going to do extract, then they're going to be breeders, then they're going to be...
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay in your lane. And that's the beauty of, the times. That's, and we are in amazing times. It is amazing to a degree. The fact that cannabis is legal to a degree. It might not be fully legal, but we are talking about it right here, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And the path towards legalization, like federal legalization, we're on the way. When
do you think that's going to happen?
7 or 8 years from now would be my guess.
Wow.
What do you think?
I think 4.
You think 4?
Yes.
Well, I think interstate commerce is going to happen. I think baby steps, right?
Okay.
And so we'll see. Maybe 4, maybe 5. That'd be great. I'm okay with that. But I think baby steps. We have so much red tape with everything that we do, and we're talking about rescheduling when we should be talking about descheduling.
Yes.
Well, they didn't really reschedule it. We've had a conversation about it. Now there's a pathway that we have to go down before that actually happens. It will happen for sure.
It will. It's just to where we can put money in the banks.
And same thing with interstate commerce. I mean, Germany just went wreck. And so that's going to be huge for Europe. So all these dominoes have to start to fall. And in the United States, things take a little bit longer. But the fact that we are going Schedule 3, they're going to be a lot more research. And the fact that they can do research and studies, and that opens up a bunch of money. And I think that's an amazing thing. There's a lot of things I don't like about the rescheduling. I'd prefer descheduling, and I think most of us would.
I would say descheduling.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to understand it's still about money.
Oh, everything's about money. With politics.
It's politics. Politics and money. Guess what, guys? This industry makes a lot of money.
Yep.
Guess what? Government's going to be in here.
For sure. Your silent partner, Uncle Sam.
Hey, you got to pay him.
For sure.
That's one guy you can't mess around with, but at the same time, just like Amazon Prime, you can research and develop things, and that's a tax write-off, guys, and so those are the things that we're here to help educate this industry.
Yeah.
We're here to further into a business, not just, hey, I go to the hydro store, learn how to grow a little bit, and then take your packs back to the hydro store and ask them, can you help me get rid of this? Those days are 5-6 years ago. They're gone. Hydro stores, we got to get better. We have to educate ourselves to the commercial level.
Well, and the mediocre weed that was so easy to sell 10 years ago or 15 years ago, that's long gone, man. It's very competitive.
Yeah.
So you really need to constantly be trying to improve what you're doing, even if you're the best.
Yeah.
It has to be constant. Like that has to be in the back of your mind that I need to make this product better, whether you're making genetics, whether you're growing flower, whether you're making extract, it doesn't matter. You have to have that mindset that my product is good, but it could be better. And I think that's so huge across this whole industry. And if you can really keep that mindset, you're going to do well.
Yeah.
at least you're going to survive. Because the guys that were like, I'm just going to keep growing this mediocre flower, and until the wheels fall off. Well, the wheels fell off like a couple years ago.
Yeah. And I used to coach football with the drill sergeant, and his motto was day by day, we get better and better till we can't be beat.
Yep.
And that's the truth. If you wake up every single day and try to get better, just like today, I was only 15 minutes late coming here. It's better than the first time, but every
gradual
day,
improvement.
Gradual improvement. Just get better every time,
Totally. Yeah, I've been getting up early. I get up early. That's always good.
What's your time you get up?
5:30 to I try to get up at 5. I've been getting up at 5:30, set my alarm for 5:30, but I've been traveling a lot.
Yeah.
But I still try to maintain that time, even if I go to bed late.
Yeah. It's a regimen.
So, yeah.
It gets you on your P's and Q's, and then it tells you there's nights that you go to bed late. You should be going to bed earlier. Your body tells you.
You regret them the next day, but you force yourself to regret those days.
Yeah, it's like when you go out and you drink too much, the next day.
There's no sleeping in anymore, I wish.
Yeah, those days are done.
I don't get to sleep in. But that's okay. I mean, there'll be time in my life where I do get to sleep in if I want to. But I really enjoy waking up early. And
you won't. It'll be in a regimen. You see these old guys that are 80, 90 years old. They still wake up at the same time every morning, go out and get their papers. It's a schedule. And if you have a schedule, you actually end up living longer.
Yeah. Well, my father, he's one of those guys. He doesn't sleep a ton. So he's never slept a lot. And there was times in my life where I used to sleep like 4 to 5 hours a night.
Yeah. I did that.
I can't do that anymore.
Never. I used to drive a bus and do that. I drove a bus and a hydro store.
Wow.
In the very beginning. And
like city bus?
Yeah,
like
VTA. VTA. I used to drive the VTA bus from 3 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock.
Oh, man.
And then I jumped out and I started doing soil deliveries.
Wow.
And that's how everybody knew me, the guy in the truck, and we've grown, and I learned a lot in the last couple of years. I learned that a team is what you need. This I can't go that far, And so we're building a team.
That's the best. And it not only feels good to be part of something so much bigger than yourself, but it's essential moving forward in this industry.
It is, because realistically, one grower, they can change any laws at any time.
Yeah.
But now if we have 200, 300, 400, 500 growers doing this way, and then they change, it also affects the tax dollars.
Yeah.
If you group up as a big enough entity, you have more leverage to where things don't change on you as fast.
Yeah.
Because it's still about the almighty dollar. It is.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. And I mean, I like focusing on quality at the end of the day, but it's still, you got to pay your bills.
You have to. If you don't pay PG&E for 6 months, you're not going to have your lights on.
Yeah, there's nowhere. I mean, there was a time where during COVID and stuff like that, where you could go without paying you could go 6 months, but they don't play around anymore.
No.
PG&E, and they've taken some big hits because of problems with the internal problems at PG&E and problems with their equipment and fires and
campfire.
Dude,
my drill sergeant, we actually went up to the campfire victims that year.
Yeah.
We took 20 of our kids. We loaded up my truck at the time with supplies. We had a food drive, and, it's all about helping people that need help.
You in the Marines?
He was a Marine, and then he jumped out of the Marines and went to the Army.
Nice.
So, yeah, he ended up being an Army Ranger. Guy's badass. The first day of practice, man, I get parents cussing at us left and right. He believes in team. We would have one kid on a gurney, 4 kids holding the gurney and go around the whole track. And then when that guy's done, get off until all 5 of them are done. We don't touch a football. We run. And he goes, all these parents look mad at us. And I'm like, they are. And he goes, give them a couple weeks. As long as nobody quits, give them a couple weeks. These kids walk in military fashion. We would go to Florida, and a couple years coaching these kids, single file lines, 2 lines everywhere we walked, and all these kids hated us for the longest time. And now they're all about 17, 18 years old, and they come back to me and they're like, Coach Caputo, and they come give me big hugs, and it's cool because they understand what hard work is, and that's what this industry is going to take to get to the next level. It's hard work between everyone as a team,
Right. Yeah, it's funny because I feel like hard work skips generations sometimes. And with technology, life has become easy and all this stuff.
It has.
So,
I tell my kids every single day, I don't care what you do in life. I don't. Just be the best at it.
right.
Strive for it. I understand that the video games, I got one son that thinks he's a video game expert. And I'm like, okay, well then join one of those leagues,
Yeah.
but he won't, because he's not the best at it. So I'm like, go back to school and get better,
Right.
So,
Well, I think that's one of the beauties of today and being alive in this era is that you can kind of keep reinventing yourself, no problem. Back 100 years ago, if you're a cobbler or if you're a tailor or whatever your father did, a lot of times
yeah.
what you had to do, but now you can keep reinventing yourself. If you want to, I've done it a bunch of my life, reinventing myself, learning things that all kind of have tied together to lead me to where I'm at now, which is nice. Not everybody does that. Some people jump from thing to thing, but food and cannabis go hand in hand. But if you don't get it right the first time, you can have another career. You can have another career, and you can keep trying. If you're a hard worker and you don't enjoy it, move on and try something else. There's no shame in that, and you're learning new skills.
You're just going to hear the word no more. When you first start business, you hear the word no a lot.
Yeah, and what happens is you learn to accept failure and realize that failure, it doesn't end at failure. You just got to get back up and keep trying. Sports are like that.
Yeah.
Martial arts are like that.
I tell my
the
kids,
cannabis industry is definitely like that.
Like I tell my kids, the word no, you actually get something out of the word no.
Yeah.
When you're told no as a kid, you can't go outside. What do? You start doing the dishes. You do whatever you can in the house,
right,
to get that to turn to a yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so guess what? The word no isn't that bad. When I first started my company, everybody told me no.
Yeah.
Our friends, Royal Gold, I love those guys to death. I tried to become a distributor for them. They told me no.
Wow.
It took me, he said, call me back in 6 months, Michael. And I said, okay. So I set a date on my phone. I called him exactly 6 months. He goes, dude, you didn't bug me. You didn't bother me for 6 months and you called me on the exact date. He goes, now, here you go. We're going to give you 50 trucks at this price, 50 trucks at this price, 50 trucks at this price.
Love those guys.
And then you'll be a distributor, right?
Yeah.
And we did it. The first year we sold 188 trucks of Royal Gold. And then we lost money doing it. But guess what? We learned a lot from it, and we built a great relationship with those guys, and they got one of the best products on the market,
Yeah. For the longest time, I thought Michael was the owner.
I finally just met Chad in Vegas for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good guys. They were just on the podcast. Freaking amazing people.
Yeah.
They're fun guys to be around, and they love the industry. They got their own podcast.
Who was it? Rick and Mike?
Both
okay.
Rick and Mike. It's the perfect storm of the three of us talking, you get us going. And it was like I don't know how long we filmed for, but it flew by like it was nothing. Those guys like talking and they enjoy talking about cannabis. I love it.
Yeah. We were out in Vegas with those guys and had a good time. So
yeah,
good people, man.
Yeah. Really good people. And then we got Huckleberry Hill. I don't know if you know those guys.
I don't.
But yeah, they're amazing as well. The white thorn rose is one of my favorite flowers. It's feel good weed.
Is it?
It's feel good, like feel the best. You want to feel the best you've ever felt? Smoke that stuff because it just keeps making you feel better every time you smoke it.
No way. Well, give me a nug of that.
Yeah. We got some we'll smoke after the show.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, there's this Blue 13 from my friend Dave and then the white thorn rose, and they're just...
See, for the genetic side, I stopped after it went to Trainwreck.
Did you like Trainwreck back when you were smoking?
I did, but then we grew too much of it. We didn't like it no more.
It's super strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything that I normally smoke is pretty much strong. I want to smoke it and then eventually go to bed. Yeah. Well, when I was a teen, I would smoke everything. We ended up starting with some good stuff. It was $480 an ounce though,
Mm-hmm.
And, but that was at 14, you start to learn and grow up and find out that, hey, you're not going to continue to pay $480 for an ounce. You know, you're going to find a way not to pay that to smoke every day.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just the side of the hustle, you know, and that's what our industry does have. Our industry has a ton of hustle. We just need to refine it into a business, guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, do what you're passionate about. At the end of the day, just do what you're passionate about. You're going to be happy. You're going to be successful.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is success? Is success being rich? I mean, success is defined so differently by each person. It's so subjective. You know, is money success? Is being happy success? Is there some point in the middle of those things? Is that what success is? Owning a lot of shit. Some people want to collect this and collect that. And I mean, I was kind of like that when I was younger a little bit. But,
Yeah.
But success to me is happiness.
Yeah.
I feel like happiness to be able to do what you want to do. I think that's success.
I went through all three of those
Yeah.
in my lifetime so far. And I'm starting to figure out, to me, success is when I pass away, my funeral will be full. Have an enormous amount of people at my funeral.
Nice.
You know, because that means it's not easy to go to a funeral. Normally people have moved away or whatnot. But if you mean enough to somebody in someone's life,
Yeah.
they come to the funeral, you know?
Well, unless you outlive all your friends. That's the tough one. And I've seen that happen, knock on wood. You know, it's like, that's not such a bad thing either.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, you know, and I've had a couple friends die of cancer in the last month.
Yeah.
2 days ago, my buddy just found out he died of cancer, and these long battles with cancer. It's kind of wild.
It's crazy, man. My uncle had stage 4 cancer that he found out. This was about 12 years ago. Guy does hardwood floors, right? Mm-hmm. They said, hey, we got 2 options. You're going to pass away in 2 weeks, or you can come up with $164,000 and take these 2 shots and see what happens. He's still alive.
Took the shots?
Took the shots.
Yeah.
He's put those 2 in him. And
$164,000
for 2 shots.
Yeah.
But now he gets to watch his son be on amateur on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
And he wish he probably died now. No, but you know, it costs a lot of money to help his son right now.
Medicine shouldn't be like that, though.
It should not.
It makes me sad.
I think it's wrong, personally.
And there's a bunch of that going on all over. And that's, to me, that's greed.
Yeah.
And I understand people, you know, I understand people have to develop drugs and they cost a lot of money to develop, but that's a tough one. 164,000. That's 82,000 a shot.
I was kind of feeling like that with this whole COVID thing, man. I thought it was bad. You can't profit off people dying. I don't believe in it. Yeah. You know, like all the people that made the shots during COVID, you know, they told all of us it was free. Yeah. It was not free. It cost us $40 and $20. It
cost the government, and it cost the taxpayers.
$20 to the government, or $20 to the government, $20 to the taxpayers.
I thought you were talking about the toilet paper hustlers. Oh. Those ones piss me off, man. The guys that would buy all the toilet paper from the store. Dude, what are you doing? You know, like, you know, the store, there's no toilet paper. You got to be kidding me.
Well, that happened in our industry.
Yeah.
And I was probably at fault for that. I told everybody, hey, COVID's going to happen. You guys better go out and get your nutrients because it's going to run out.
It did.
And so we had people going to the Bay Area, loading up on every single thing that they possibly could, and then driving up to Sacramento and grabbing whatever else they could. It was a heyday for the hydro.
For the industry.
For the
COVID
whole industry.
was an amazing time. If you were in the industry of COVID and you weren't successful, you should be out of the industry. Yes. You're probably doing something wrong.
Yes.
Because it was very easy to be successful during COVID. There was a lot of people with money and they didn't shut down the dispensaries, and people were excited to smoke. People were excited to be growing, drinking, and all that good stuff. But
the hardest thing was trying to find products for the growers.
Yeah.
Like they would switch anything at any time. Like if you're used to using Grodan, I don't care if it's Coltaline, give it to me. And that's how it went. You know, It was whatever was out there. I'm going to take every single thing off this shelf and put it in my grow room and we'll figure it out later, you know? So yeah, we sprungboard into success through COVID, which is now it's time for us to give back, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's always the right time to give back. That's the beauty of it.
And
Yeah.
honestly, since COVID, it's been a whirlwind for this whole industry. It's been up, down, down, down. Now it's starting to come up a little, you know.
There's been hot spots and a lot of cold spots. Yeah, I
It
mean it's
has.
been rough. It's been rough for a lot of people. And then the problem is during COVID, on the cultivation side, I saw a lot of people expanding, thinking it was going to be like that for a long time. And so then they either had to get rid of their second spot that they just built out, or
Yes.
third spot, or 100,000 square feet never got fully built out. But it was a great idea. The concept was good, but the market changed.
It does. And I think, you know, going back to when it's federally legal, that's when the boom will come again. I was thinking 4 years because presidency, you know,
Yeah.
it's going to be a president that is politics is in our industry, you
Mhm.
know, and to get somebody voted in, I think federal legalization is going to be on the next ballot, not with the two that are going right now, but
On the next one
on the
after
next
that.
one after that.
We will see.
Yeah. So you said 7 to 8 years.
7 to 8 years. Yeah, I'm thinking that we're not ready for it. I mean, I'm ready for it. I've been ready for it since 1996.
Do you think exportation at that time is going to be legal as well?
Federal exportation to
Yeah.
other countries.
Yeah. That's
I
what
mean,
I think.
I can't imagine us missing out on all this import export,
Yeah.
opportunity that Canada gets to experience. Potentially Mexico will get to experience before this. Look like they might get to experience it before us. Colombia gets to experience it now. Germany, Portugal, South Africa. All these countries have import export. So, or at least export.
Yeah.
And I mean, for us to miss out on this opportunity is silly because, dude, we have the best flower, we have the best growers, in my opinion.
Yes.
We can argue this with some people, but I think we have the best growers and the best product in the world. We should be able to export it.
So now, but think about the liability or the viability of it is shipping, say, pounds from here to Europe. They can also grow it in Europe too, though. But what I'm thinking is it's going to be more your business, genetics.
For sure.
That's where the springboard is going to happen.
I mean, genetics can already be shared through tissue culture. Correct. Internationally, phytosanitary export.
Yeah.
So all that stuff is already good to go.
Gotcha.
Right? Especially on the hemp side.
Yeah.
So I mean, the genetic stuff is already done, but I think you can go buy a Hershey bar in Europe that's from the United States. Why, it's like,
yeah, McDonald's is there.
McDonald's is there. That's way worse for you. I mean, in all reality, it's like, yeah, if we're talking about what's healthier and what's better for you, there's still people that believe that cannabis is bad and causes lung cancer and stuff like that. I mean, show me the money, show me the proof. Yeah. So, I was reading this article the other day that psychosis in younger people, if they smoke too much, or smoke, and maybe that's true. We're learning about it more, but I feel like cannabis does more good than bad. So as a plant, I think it helps people. I think that for so many conditions, it can be an alternative to something that could potentially cause cancer or get you sick or be a lot worse off for you.
Or strung out on drugs.
Or strung out on drugs. Or, pain pills, dude. Like as a substitute for pain pills, I think it's great.
Great.
And maybe it's not for everybody for that, but the ones that are, they deserve to be able to use that.
You should have an option. When you force somebody to do something, that's what we're going to do when we come out with the stores. We're going to have good, better, best. When you force someone to do something, they're going to revert and do what they want to do.
Right.
Nobody likes to be forced to do anything in this world.
Don't tell me what to do. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the new world, because it all came from our dad telling us, this is what you're going to do. Mom and dad, my way or the highway. We used to tell that to my mom all the time. Mom, this world is not your world, But
so much of this world is and so much of this reality is counterintuitive that you think it's one way, but really it's the complete opposite once you have the full perspective.
Yeah.
It's like you want your kids to live an easy life and not to suffer. I think a lot of people, and I'm not generalizing with you, but I just, a lot of people don't want their kids to suffer. And unfortunately, they give their kids too easy of a life, and that causes suffering. And so it has the exact opposite effect, but we're so often looking at a symptom rather than the problem. So we look at this as like, this is the problem, but no, that's just a symptom of a much bigger problem. And it's happening all over the place. And most of us just focus on what we can see and not what took it to bring that issue to be a problem.
Yeah. It's coddling.
Yeah, it's coddling.
Coddling because we want better for our children.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, that hard work has paid off for us. Right. You know, the sweat, the tears, sleeping 4 hours, having a bus job as well as selling soil, you know?
Right.
Those are the things that make you as a person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and they're going to make you appreciate. And the other thing is like, if you don't experience a hard life, and to some degree, not in your whole life, but if you don't experience the opposite, you don't really appreciate the good life. It's just, you know, the sour and the sweet. You know, if you don't ever experience the sour, the sweet will never be as sweet.
That's crazy. I say this all the time. I tell everybody, this is my line. You know why we have bad days? So we know what a good day is.
Yeah.
If you always have good days, you don't know what a bad day is. And then if something hits you out of nowhere, that it's going to take you for a tumble, you know? Hey, we're all resilient. You know, we can get up. We've all been punched, you know, stand back up.
Yeah. Fall down 7, get up 8.
Hey, the jiu-jitsu, the whole 9, everything. Yep. That's what this industry is about. Business, being an owner in a business, you're going to hear the word no.
Yeah.
Get used to it and learn how to take that word no and pivot it into something you want.
Yeah, unless you're Giselle.
that's a little
her
different.
Jiu-jitsu instructor. Yeah, I mean,
did you see that?
The roast of Tom Brady, man, that was hilarious.
Hilarious.
Yeah, you know, I like jiu-jitsu, and it was so funny how they roasted him on his wife leaving him for a jiu-jitsu instructor.
Oh yeah, they made it known a couple times.
Yeah, it was good, and yeah, I mean. I thought it was hilarious. And then to find out he made $25 million from Netflix. That's what they paid him to do the roast. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that wouldn't do the roast for $25 million. That's why he's sitting there smiling, thinking about that $25 million.
Yeah. I don't think I would do it if I was him, though.
Man.
That guy got too much money. Kevin Hart made, how much did Kevin Hart make?
I have no idea. And then, you know, Brady lost all that money on Bitcoin. So,
did he?
You know, I'm a Niners fan, but I got a lot of respect for Brady as being the GOAT. You know, it's pretty impressive what he's done as a quarterback. He's quite the character. You know, he lose $40 million in crypto.
I don't follow that.
Yeah. So he lost a shit ton of money in crypto.
No way.
So yeah, in fact, there was a couple jokes about it on the roast. So.
Oh yeah, I watched most of the roast, but yeah, I'm a diehard Michigan fan, so nice. I love Brady. Yeah, I love the whole story, the underdog.
Brady's from the Bay Area.
He is. Yeah. Sarah High School, baby. Mm-hmm. They keep beating my son's high school every year in football right now. Those guys are stacked over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everyone wants to go there probably because of Brady.
Yeah.
So if you play football, you'd know.
They got like 4 varsity teams pretty much. You can put together 4 teams.
Huh.
Easily.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bay Area is special. I love this place.
It is.
You know, and it's someplace I move away from and I end up moving back. I always gravitate. It's like a magnet. And besides having good friends here, there's just an amazing array of good food, experiences to be had. So much. I love Seattle too. And I'd love to spend part of my time in Seattle, and same thing with Barcelona.
You live in Seattle? Or you have?
I've spent a lot of time in Seattle with my good friends. Big shout out to all you guys up there. Yeah, I love Seattle. I would definitely spend part of the year up in Seattle. If I wasn't focused on this right now so much, what I'm doing with genetics, I would be up in Seattle for a third of the year. I love Seattle, especially during the summer.
Yes.
Lake Union's amazing. The food, the people, and I just have some really amazing friends up there that I enjoy spending time with, that I could hang out with more.
I lived off Lake Washington Boulevard.
Dude, that's amazing. I love Seattle.
Only lived there for about 6 months. My grandpa was in he was the president of the union for Boeing.
Oh, nice.
So he was up there.
Yeah, my father used to work for Boeing a long time ago.
Yeah, crazy world, small world. Everybody in Washington works at Boeing. It's weird. It's,
for sure.
That's all you hear up there is Boeing.
Boeing, Amazon, Microsoft now.
I haven't been there for I was, man, 20 years now it's been
Wow.
since I've been to Washington. But yeah, it rains
Dude,
a
the
lot.
music scene up there is nuts.
Yeah.
The food up there is fantastic. Every time I go, I have a great time, and it's just, it's a beautiful city. And
Yeah.
especially in the summer, it's like it's not too hot.
It's perfect in summer.
Winter, when it's raining, it can suck.
It sucks if you're there the whole time.
Yeah.
If you're there, because I lived up there for 6 months and I hit most of the rain, it takes a toll on you. You know, they have things called happy lights.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a little light and you turn it on because it rains so much up there.
Yeah.
The high school I went to was all indoors. I was like, this is weird, you know, because out here, everything's open.
Right.
You know, the high school I went to is in California. It was wide open. But when up there, everything was halls.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of good salmon up there.
There
a lot
is.
of good fishing up there.
Good weed too.
Good weed now, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they've had good weed for a long time. I just, I had family up there, and their weed was good, but it was few and far between. And it's really, since they started really dialing in where like you harvest it, you dry it, and you cure it under the correct conditions, and then you seal it under the correct conditions. Yeah, I mean, House Cultivar, those guys crush it. Can Organics, another brand, those guys crush it. Fireline, another brand, they do great. It's like there's some really good flour up there for sure.
I found out real quick that twomps in California were different than twomps in Washington. The guy wanted 2 grams for a twomp. In Washington, down here it was 1 gram. I went up there. I was 16, bought a little quarter. I was like, I'm gonna smoke a little, get my money back.
Yeah.
Hey, man, the guy looked at me like, this is short. And I'm like, no, that's what we pay for in California. He goes, yeah, but it's cheaper up here. And I was like, oh man, well, sorry. I ended up smoking the rest of that for myself. So,
totally.
Yeah.
So 2 grams for $20.
2 grams for $20. And then I ended up coming down California later on and ended up making a holiday, 2 grams for 30. That was the going thing.
Nice.
So in school.
Yeah, back in the day, the weed was real wet up there. It was more spongy that I remember. We had genetics. We brought genetics up from the Bay for up there. So they had Sour Diesel, Chem Dog, Bubba Kush, Larry Bubba, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good local stuff. And I remember some of the stuff up there, the Permafrost, Senex was up there. That was a pretty popular one. They had Alaskan Thunderfuck. That's where I saw that the first time, I think.
That's what I ended up driving back up to Washington with 4 of my buddies in an S10 truck.
Nice.
It was more of a trip, but we went up there to go pick up a little QP up to Washington. And we were 16 years old, come back down. And because the prices was different from up there to down here.
It was cheaper.
It was a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper.
Yeah.
I think back then we paid $700 for a QP.
Wow.
Now, or down here, it was probably like $1,100 at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember those. It was like that for a long time. 1,100, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 for QP.
We're pretty much doing what all the growers are doing now, driving from hydro store to hydro store. We probably spent the same amount of money on gas driving up there, but it was for the experience,
Yeah, for sure.
So
it's a good drive. I just made that drive.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's a long
I did
drive.
It one day.
Did you?
One day. That's a long day.
I drove all the way up in my truck to Port Orchard.
Yeah.
Did a delivery, 8 pallets. And then drove all the way back down, and I made it to a little place in Oregon and just crashed out for about 2-3 hours and then drove back. I've done some crazy shit driving.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I used to do the Riverside from Seattle to Riverside. So I go stop in the Bay, drive all the way down in one shot.
Yeah.
Stop in the Bay, drop my buddy off, drive all the way down to Riverside, boom, 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 drive back to the house, which was another fucking 6 hours.
Yeah.
From Riverside. Long days.
Yeah. My worst one ever was I drove down I had like 8 pallets of soil on me, drove out to Anza, out in the desert, down to LA, drove back to a hydro store in LA, picked up 8 more pallets and drove back out to Anza, and then ended up driving home all in the same day. Made it home in 24 hours though.
Wow.
I would never do that again.
Yeah.
Never. You learn. You grow up and you learn.
You grow up and you learn. And when you're younger, you're invincible. So you're like, whatever, I'm taking on the world. I don't care.
I probably almost died coming home on the 152.
Yeah.
But hey, the things you do to feed your children, right?
Well, I remember being in my early 20s and we'd drive to Mexico on Friday and home Sunday and go back to work on Monday.
Uh,
Those were crazy. Dude, that's like a 10-hour from the house. It was like 10 hours to Ensenada to the hotel
uh,
to go party for the weekend. And man, those were, and it's like, that's a lot of driving, 10 hours. And, it's almost a day of driving to go down for the weekend
yeah.
to go into Mexico. I can't do that anymore.
Dude, can you imagine doing what we used to do? We can't. Like,
No, but that's getting older,
yeah.
and understanding maybe we just have these mental limitations. Maybe we could do those things.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know I don't have any time anymore. Like
No.
I had a buddy ask me the other day, he goes, "You don't smoke that much." I said, "I don't have time."
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't like to forget things. I have a lot on our plate, so if I forget something, I feel like I did someone wrong, So
Right.
I really keep smoking to nighttime for now until I can take a little more workload off me, you know?
Yeah, it just depends on the day for me. Every day's a little different. Up in Washington, I smoked a lot. Going there at a memorial for one of my buddies.
Yeah.
And so we smoked a lot.
Yeah. No, from 14 to 22, I probably smoked every single day, but 20, maybe 30 days, and it
When
was
you were sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, or I didn't have money that day or something, but from 14 to 22, smoking every single day is hard,
14 to 22, we had droughts where we couldn't get weed some days.
Yeah.
It just wasn't there. Like nobody had weed. Everyone was looking for it, and they don't have that anymore. There's no such thing as a drought.
Or having to
It's been
call.
over a year since I didn't have. It's been a lot more than a year, but since I didn't have any weed in the house, it's like I've always got something to smoke.
Could you
It's
imagine having to call 4 or 5 hooks again to get a 20 sack because this
Seriously.
guy doesn't have it? It's like, what? We're calling 4 or 5 guys to see the quality now. It's
Right.
not the availability. Availability's there.
Yeah.
Now it's quality.
Well, and then it's hard. Yeah, I mean, quality is still not accessible for everybody. Most people don't like the stuff that we're able to get from our mutual friend. Most people don't even get to see the stuff on that quality on a daily.
That's why it's very easy for me not to smoke, because I go to a lot of other facilities and they try to give me stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's still good, but there's a huge difference between good and wow.
Night and day. And then
Yes.
effect.
Yeah.
It's like most of this stuff has a good effect.
Yeah.
Some of it's really strong. The cherry guava.
Is that a strong one?
It's good. It's strong. Yeah, I like it because it has a good effect to it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's strong. It burns clean. It tastes great. It burns down to the roach. But yeah, it's pretty potent.
Yeah. Yeah. The one before the Gushers was G41. I don't know if there was a cross with it or not.
Yeah.
But that was the last one that I smoked. And they said a cut came from you. And I was like, oh, wow. See what you're doing with upping the genetics game,
Mm-hmm.
and it's actually helping the flower at the end,
Right.
So that's kind of what we're trying to build in this whole community.
Yeah.
Is A to Z.
Right.
We want builders, we want advisors, we want genetics, we want growers, hydro stores, everybody together as a unit.
Yeah.
And that's where we could see ourselves furthering this industry, because without you going and having conversations with another genetics guy, James, you might not learn something.
For sure.
Well,
we always got to learn. It's constantly evolving.
And the more we communicate with each other, the more education that comes out, and that's what I see the hydro stores going back to being eventually, is like a transportation hub for education.
Yeah.
No more packs, guys, education. A grower's going to come into there and he's going to say something. Now you can be the person that transfers it to another grower, you know?
I kind of see the future, in my weird way, but going into the grow shop, they have the big screen, like in Back to the Future when he went into the library, and it was like, was it Back to the Future? I can't remember. It was one of those movies where they went in the library. Anyway, I could imagine going in a grow shop where they have the AI and it's fully trained in whatever questions you have, and it can answer the questions.
It's going to be there.
I mean, we're not too far off.
Yeah. I think the whole reason why we're paying fast food people $20 an hour is because they're going to be taking our order pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
AI is wild. Computers are, really evolved, and it's only just going to keep getting more crazy. Genetics breeding with AI is the future. For sure.
Because I went to a vertically integrated in San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's a produce facility. No one's allowed inside of it but robots.
Wow.
And it opened up my eyes, to a whole nother level. Our industry isn't just going to be cannabis. It's going to be the traditional side all coming together. We use the same products.
Yeah.
That's why I see some of these hydro stores turning into like IGCs, independent garden centers. Why not?
I grow tomatoes with age old and royal gold.
You see what I'm saying? I have a crop of corn.
Yeah.
From Royal Gold. And it was the best tasting corn that we've ever had. My daughter has a picture. She was like 4 years old. We geek out in a garden together, me and my daughter,
Yeah, I use Vital. I use Royal Gold and for vegetables, like for sure. And they get age old too.
Yeah. It's gonna kind of cross paths.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. Look at like BFG. They came into our industry. They're a traditional distributor. Now they're coming into the hydro sector, and now they're merging with Hawthorne.
Yeah.
All this is showing you the writings on the wall, guys.
Right.
This industry is coming together. And instead of it being $1 billion industry, it's going to be $1 trillion industry.
Well, that's only because the dollar is getting devalued so much. But yes, I agree. But that's what inflation is.
Correct.
It's not that the money's worth less as the dollar's going down. The product's still worth the same. It's just valued differently.
Yep.
So if you had one advice for your younger self that was first coming into the industry, what would that piece of advice be?
Not believe in myself, but more understand you have a key to a huge co-op, and listen more to what the people around you are saying. For a long time, I was running the business by myself. So I was kind of narrow-minded and just driven on what my task was, because I couldn't really look outside the box. First company that I really started dealing with in this industry was Crop Protection Services. They've now changed their name to Ag Nutrient. But this guy, Mike Johnson, coolest guy in the world, man. He came in and he said, "How much is this CalMag?" And it was 1 gallon, and I don't know, 25, 30 bucks. He goes, "I can get you 55 pounds of dry fertilizer that can make thousands and thousands of gallons for the same price." So I ended up going to all the hydro stores and I said, "Hey, guys, look at dry fertilizer." And this is 2013.
Yeah.
And everybody said, "No, nobody's ever going to come back. We're not going to be able to make any money now."
Yeah.
But now I turn to them and I look at them all and I'm like, "How much money are you guys making off these products now? A couple dollars?"
Yeah.
Everyone's going to salt. So just believe and trust in the circle around you. There's educated people around you, and stay open-minded to all aspects of their kind of critiques,
Nice. Yeah. So who was the first salt company that had salt nutrients? I know GH had Flora Pro, and then, but I even think over in Europe, I think
was it Front Row Ag had one too?
They had one too, but I think they came from Veg Bloom, right? So
Veg Bloom, yes, I'm sorry.
Veg Bloom might be the first. But Arion and Greenhouse, they've got their greenhouse feeding. I believe greenhouse feeding was the first. But I mean, the concept is great. It's like, it's so silly that we mix these powder nutrients with water, and then they have this fucking crazy footprint. And the carbon footprint's way bigger when you add water than if you ship powder, and you can kind of ship that anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And the concept's been around. We had some powder additives and stuff like that, but it's funny. It took us so long to go all the way back to the beginning, because that's where it started. And now it's amazing with these buffers and all these other things where you could just use. I mean, I've used some 1-part stuff that, mediocre results.
There's an array of things that we're trying right now. It's going to evolve. And the people in the ag side have been doing this for years. It's picking some of their brain, getting away from the name brands that we're so stuck on.
Well, there's the cannabis tax, right? So if you look at the ag products that are the exact same products, sometimes they are 4x of what they cost in the ag world. And that just goes across the board.
And that's what we're doing with our nutrient lines. We're taking out the margins. If you look at the ag industry, there's only a couple of nutrients out there.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that understand we're not selling secrets no more, guys. We're selling convenience.
Yeah.
We have to allow these strawberry growers to do what? Grow strawberries and put it on the table. You know, that's the same thing as our industry now. You know, it's evolving to where we're not selling secrets no more, guys. These liquid fertilizers, these other name brand fertilizers, you can get them for a lot cheaper at your ag place.
Yeah.
You know, it's reality.
Well, and cannabis farmers, the glory and all this stuff, it's like they're becoming tomato farmers.
Yes.
They're becoming strawberry farmers. They're going to become part of the ag model to a degree. You know, wineries.
Cut flower business has gone out of business for the
dude. That's where all the greenhouses came from. Is cut flowers.
I've been watching so many greenhouses trying to get
all the rickety ones are from cut flowers.
It's cut flower, man. There's one up here in Half Moon Bay, but it has an aqueduct, and they grow butter lettuce and they sell it to the Ritz-Carlton. So I was really intrigued by that because that's where I see our business going. We are a couple steps ahead of the ag side when it comes to cultivating inside. You know, outside, no, they still have the upper hand on us, you know. Yeah. So it's just how to take out the margins in this industry, streamline it to where you can have a really reliable product at an effective price. That's what we're looking for. Totally.
Well, you know, the double stacks, they came from lettuce growers.
Yes.
And now they're talking triples. I've seen triple stacks at Mango Spot. And that's a long, you got to go way up to get, it's
not safe.
It's not safe.
It's not safe.
You know, but everyone's got their own way of doing it. There's no two ways to, I mean, there's so many different ways to skin a cat.
What do you think the optimal price per pound, best quality product, where is that going to come from?
Your opinion? I think there's still going to be the boutique product that sells for top dollar that's not produced. There's going to be the either limited market or the false limited market on it, that they control the amount of product that goes out. So it's very limited and it just sells like crazy, which is like the Doja stuff right now.
Yeah.
You know, Deep East, the stuff that they're pushing, it's like it's very limited. And I think that'll still fetch a high dollar no matter what, whether, you know, especially, you know, rec where it's top quality product. But if it takes $300 to produce a pound, which I don't see that changing much, unless the dollar goes down more, which it will. But, but if we're looking at it from that perspective, you know, cost $300, how much do you need to stay profitable before you go out of business? You know, and so where's that line, especially with taxation?
Yeah.
And everything else. So I don't know.
I think substitute lighting in a greenhouse.
I couldn't agree more. Mixed light is the best. I think it's the future. You know, I think I talked about it on my last podcast, but I think that mixed light is the future. I think you can get a amazing quality product and for a lower cost.
Yeah.
And you're using the sun. And so you're getting the light's amazing.
There's drawbacks on both sides, but I see the large scale going that way eventually. I've been walking farms all through Salinas, Watsonville, Half Moon Bay, and I've got a better understanding. You know, there's some really high quality glass house projects out there.
Dude, you know what those cost per square foot to build? It's crazy. The Venlos, like the Dutch greenhouses, it could be more expensive, and a lot of times is more expensive than an indoor facility build out.
But you're going to save money in the long run on power.
You are.
And ag power is a lot cheaper than commercial power in the city.
Yeah, if you got an extra 10 million or 15 to throw at it, it's no problem.
But I guess that's where corporation's going to go. So that's where us coming together as a team and figuring out how do we get an SOP at $200 a pound? That's where communication and challenging each other to get better.
Right.
That's where we have to go. Or guess what? You might as well just sign over the keys to corporate, you know, and let them take it. But we're resilient. We're fighters, and we're not going to turn it over that easy. I promise you. Not my group.
No.
I guarantee you.
No, and those glass greenhouses are pretty cool. You can tint them with they have like the planes that spray. You can have them spray your tint on there.
Yes.
The different seasons, they have different sprays and stuff like that. It's really cool.
And they have misters that go back and forth. Oh man, there's some really cool things. So that's what I'm trying to get a couple guys from our group into a couple facilities like that.
Yeah.
And There's one down there. It has 70,000 square feet. It has 1,300 lights in it. To see the difference,
Right.
see what your ROI is. Figure out what's a better situation for you financially, because everybody might want these boutiques, but one day it might not fetch that dollar anymore.
There's always going to be boutique, but there will always also be the middle range, and that's where the race to the bottom occurs.
Yeah.
So you either want, I mean, if you're a small boutique company, you got to stay small boutique. You can't, because you'll never compete on price ever. You know, it's like these guys will be able to produce stuff for 200 and they'll be able to sell it for
400, 500.
Yeah. I mean, they'll be able to put out, you know, $5 eighths.
Yeah.
That are decent quality if they want to.
Buy them at 7-Eleven.
Dude, you think that's the future? 7-Eleven?
I do.
The face recognition and the screen where you just put it in there and it's a dispenser that or delivers. No, I think drone delivery is definitely going to happen.
You're going to see it on normal shelves eventually.
Drone delivery probably already is happening. I just don't know about it yet.
It's probably going to be like vending machine.
Yeah.
To an extent, like you're saying, that is 7-Eleven, you know. But now how long can you really gauge the shelf life inside that vending machine? Now,
dude, once they dial it in, it's refrigerated inside there. Then it's
there
like
you
6
go.
months later.
You see, that's the evolution of this industry.
But I'm looking forward to the day where they don't even get, the consumer doesn't even necessarily want to see the weed. They don't care. They want to get that pre-roll that burns amazing. And so then you can give them the stuff that necessarily right now, it wouldn't fit the bill because they have to see the product. But if it was put in a pre-roll and they smoked it, they'd be like, this is the best thing ever. So, or the rosin, you know what I mean? We already have that with rosin, but I feel like with pre-rolls, and we're getting there, but it takes consumer trust.
That's what I was just going to tell you. You know how you gain that? Which would be a great idea. Let them know what substrate you're using.
Right.
On those pre-rolls, because a lot of people think a pre-roll, back in the day when cannabis places or dispensaries just opened, they used all the BS for the pre-rolls, you know? Right. And it was like, nobody wanted to smoke that. You know, but if you can detail a map for them to where they can actually trust the source, where it came from, what the plant is, what nutrients were used in it.
Yeah.
I think that's the education level in which people will actually really enjoy.
Well, and I think if you want to know about my stuff, I think the information is mostly there, and even more so the stuff that we're working on, like with Grodan and Charcore and some of these other brands. We do publicize it. We do share with everybody what we're using, what we're doing to create the genetics. If we're using a tissue culture plant or if we're not using a tissue culture plant, we state it. You know, in the future, we will be doing everything with tissue culture as far as genetics. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be the standard that everything's clean and optimal health when we're breeding with it.
I'm going to get you on Kaya too.
Nice.
You got to try the Kaya.
I'm down. I'm down. There's nothing I won't try to see if it improves what I do.
Correct.
You know, there's a couple things, but for the most part, I'm always down to try stuff, and I'm always looking to improve. And I feel like you have to get rid of your ego when you're looking at stuff. And sometimes the guys with the ego are the ones that have good products, and sometimes it's the quiet guys. And so I'm okay working with the big guys and with the little guys, but I want the best product I can possibly get, you know, and we're trying United right now, and you know, we'll see how that goes. And I'm excited, you know, I'll be able to share the results with everybody online. Yeah. So, and I'm one of those guys that if I don't like it, I don't talk bad about it.
Yeah.
Because I try so much stuff. I don't want to be the guy that like hates on a lot of products. I like a lot of products, and I think they have value, and they have value, maybe not value for me right now, but I can see the value for this person or that person. And so, and there's so many things to try.
There is. It's just like everyone's environment's different.
Yeah, and exactly. Everybody's room is not completely different, but substantially different enough to where you could be right next door to somebody else. They could have the same nutrients and get completely different results.
100% agreed.
I see that all the time, actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
See, I don't go into as many gardens. I'm still stuck behind the desk working on the phone all day long, you know, networking, sourcing, taking care of the stores, you know.
Right.
So I'm still in touch with those guys all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually I'm going to use those stores to then expand it to where then they're talking to other stores, you know, because it's evolution. You got to grow and get better and get to manufacturers till we can leverage down the price to get the price a little lower to keep the growers growing. That's what the manufacturers are missing, is if the growers stop growing, they're out of business too.
Right.
So let's help each
we're
other.
all in this together.
We are. It's a community. It's a team. And if people can see the word team, and fight for that, that's the objection that will make it in the long run, you know?
Well, if people are looking to find out more about you, United or Terra International, where would they go?
Go to your local hydro store, ask about Terra International. They can reach out to us and we'll make sure that they get them their products. You can also get us on Instagram. It's terra.intl.
Good stuff, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Look forward to hanging out. And thank you very much.
Thank you, James. I appreciate it. Keep doing your God's work.
I love it. I love this stuff. This is great.